Hey everybody, Rodman here. Thanks for tuning in to Oxygen Not Included, episode 23. So I wanted to go over a whole bunch of tips I got from you guys. Luis mentioned a few things. One, he mentioned that the ladder I have to the Gravitas building was not high enough, and therefore it's going to prevent us from ever entering it. There we go. I'll set up ladder up properly. He also mentioned a few other things. Another one was that the hydroponic tiles here... Let me play on slow. I just need to empty storage, and that would dump out the remaining water. The tiny amounts of remaining water. But that allows us to shut down this old farm. And then he also said that it might be in my best interest, and I agree, to insulate my geyser over here so that the heat it generates does not spill out and cause temperature problems elsewhere. One other tip I got was from Peter Wood. Now, this has been mentioned to me in the past. I am going to overhaul some of my filtration here. So this tip is pretty straightforward. It is about... Let me disable this and speed time up. It's about a cheaper to run element filter. Gas or water, both will work. And I've been using the sort of basic method, but I want to use a improved method. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a second as soon as we flick these things off. I actually don't think I can reach the pump up here without an additional ladder that we don't have. I could have shut it off by automation, I guess, and set the Atmos sensor up to something ridiculous. That would have worked too. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to let the remaining stuff that's currently in these pipes filter out so I can overhaul the system. I'm also going to go over here and set this up to, let's say, 3,500 grams. So when it's quite pressurized. Alright, so now there's nothing in these pipes. So let me demonstrate the smarter way to filter. I'm going to destroy my old gas filters. I'm going to re-enable all these gas pumps. And then I will demo, the new filtration method. So it's going to look something like this. We're going to have gas shutoffs in lieu of the gas filters. Like this. And then we're going to have element sensors right in front of the gas shutoffs. And then the pipes have to continue. And then, last but not least, automation wires. And once it's built, I will explain how it works. It's really quite simple, but... and for that reason, I could, everywhere I employ filters, I could have done element sensors instead, as they're, a perfectly viable way of filtering things out. So the added benefit here is the amount of power required to run a gas shutoff is 10 watts. The amount of power required to run a filter is 120 watts. So it is much more power efficient to do it the way I'm about to demo. Whoa, my glossy Drecos. We really cleared out them eggs. Here, let me stop doing that. I thought I had more Drecos here. But, nope, definitely did not. Alright, so I am impatient, and I want to finish this off before I move to my next bit of information. My next big project. So we got this fire pole pretty much all the way down. Now, as you can see, since I tapped this crude oil at the bottom here, actually, to be honest, I don't even need that fire pole. Since I tapped the crude oil at the bottom, this crude oil, because it was high pressure here, has been flowing upwards. And then if I make a liquid pump down here, I need to think about overheat temperatures. So I'm going to make a gold liquid pump, because normally liquid pumps, what is their normal overheat temperature is about 75 C, and then the gold increases it to 125 C, and this oil here is 127 C. So this oil is actually just a little bit too hot for the liquid pump. Yeah, I don't know if, well, yeah, I don't actually know if there's much of a solution other than to suffer a little bit of damage, because I don't have another material to make it out of. Not yet. If I had steel, steel would be a more hardy, temperature-hardy material, but I don't have steel yet because it's like chicken and the egg, right? Alright, so get these done. And we are going to then insulate this area here. And that's going to serve me for another project. So let me speed time up. So here we go. We don't have all the automation wires set up, but we have some of them. So if you take a look, the gas shutoff will pass through towards... Well, this one doubles, actually. But this is for oxygen. So what I'm going to do here is, if breathable gas, oxygen, run the shutoff down. And then if not, run the shutoff to the side here. And I'm just going to throw in a direction bridge. And then for here, it's the opposite. It is if hydrogen, run it through the shutoff towards the hydrogen tanks. If oxygen, get shunted out to the sides. And then it also appears as if, yeah, the physical location of where we plug things in changed. So I'll fix that. Alright, so now that this is all set up, I'm going to play it on slow just to make sure I didn't make any errors. So the way this works is the element sensor senses the elements, and if the element is what the sensor set at, it will pass through the shutoff valve, and if not, it will pass around the shutoff valve. So here's a good example. This element sensor is sensing oxygen if oxygen goes down, if hydrogen goes to the right. And then this is doing the same thing. If hydrogen goes through, if oxygen goes around. Alright, perfect. First try, I set it up correctly. And the advantage here is, of course, these shutoff valves require a fraction of the power. So if you remember, previously, my potential load on this line was something like 960, 800 something. It's down to 500. And then same with this. Actually, this line's no different because it's just powering up these pumps. But, yeah. So that's one way to save a significant amount of power. And this can be done for liquid as well. If you're doing it for liquid, you would need a liquid pipe element sensor instead of the gas pipe element sensor, and a liquid valve instead of a gas shutoff valve, or liquid shutoff rather, instead of a gas shutoff. But essentially the same. Really functionally no different. So there you have it. People have been asking me why I haven't done automation, fully automation, for my water filtration, and it's actually because of there is a fail point here. If you don't have power, the shutoffs don't work correctly. In the case of this setup here, it's not that big of a deal because, okay, a little bit of hydrogen gets mixed in with the oxygen or vice versa. For my water filtration, if I have a failure like that, it germs up my entire liquid aquifer. The the failed condition is so much worse that that's why I hadn't, you know, that's basically why I haven't automated this, because the act of me physically flipping these switches is the failsafe, if that makes sense. All right, so we got a new printable, I guess, Joya seeds, sure. So back to sort of my original point, or back to the sort of big project, I guess, I have planned. So with all of this oil here, and this oil is actually slowly, passively, over time cooling down as it moves upwards, so that's good. With all this new oil that we've hit, this allows us to use it as a liquid medium for actually, I don't like how they fall down like that. Let me fix that. It allows us to use it as a liquid medium for metal refining. The issue, of course, with metal refining creates an insane amount of temperature. So that's the problem to fix, to put it simply. And I'll be going over how I intend to fix that in a second here. Alright, so that's a little bit more elegant down there. God, I have so many Weezeworts. Alright, so now we have this insulated, and that means that the heat won't spill out as far. When the geyser goes off, which is pretty useful. So back to metal refining. I kind of got lost staring at that operate. So the refining here, the metal refinery, is the way to make steel. And you're going to need a lot of steel, because steel is the material that allows you to do a lot of the stuff up here in space. The issue with space is there are constant asteroid strikes up here in space, and steel is one of the only materials that can withstand impacts. So you use steel to make bunker tiles and bunker doors. Bunker tiles are just regular old tiles that can withstand the impacts of meteor strikes. But what will happen is the meteor strikes will dramatically heat up the steel. But steel has a really, really high temperature, you know, sensitivity, or really high thermal max, or whatever you want to call it. So in order to make steel, we need to do metal refining. But the problem with metal refining, it outputs a ton of heat. Tons and tons of heat. I mean, we're talking, you know, you can boil yourself alive levels of heat. Now, the positive thing is we have a way of dealing with this kind of heat. We have the steam turbines. A steam turbine takes hot water, or hot, well, technically it's water, but hot gas, hot steam, and cools it down, turning it into power. So coupling these two things, a metal refinery that generates way too much heat, and a way to actually produce power with the heat, we're going to be able to make a system that can deal with the excess heat and also add power to a power grid, which is pretty nice. But for that, I'm going to need a significant amount of space. So the idea I had here was to do... Let's see. I'm going to start to set this up. So I'm going to add a checkpoint here. And then I'm also going to add docks. I'm going to add some additional suit docks here. The plan here is to put the refinery out around this area, out yonder. Actually, I don't need these yet. What that means is I have to mine up kind of this swath here. Now, there is a geyser here. It's a gold volcano. So I have to avoid hitting that. And this is going to take, obviously, kind of a long time. But this is sort of the area, the physical area that I'll put my my sort of metal refining steam geyser setup. All right, so we'll get working on that. And that means creating a lot more slime and slime blog, and you know the process. Dealing with all this liquid at some point, because all this liquid's going to pool at the bottom. It's just the nature of doing business. So now that we've got, you know what? Another thing I could do is another level of insulated tile here. I couldn't do that initially because it would have let all this hydrogen out. Alright, so we're going to slowly convert this area over to be usable space for our next project. It'll take a minute, but, you know, we've got time. And then I'm going to continue sweeping down there. Another thing that I had thought is about setting up transfer tubes. Transfer tube access points would be a very good way to send dupes quickly around. So yeah, here as you can see the filter's working at full time. We have a lot of hydrogen. Oh boy. But yeah, setting up a transfer tube system to allow our dupes to move much more rapidly. Now the thing with that is the tubes themselves will require a lot of plastic, right? So I need... Oh, this is going to kill me. I need to remove this fire pole. Or I don't need to, but I should. I should set up the fire pole over here for space reasons, if I'm going to set up transfer tubes. Another thing I'm going to want to do is in this space, oh boy, is it already nasty, is to, let's get some buddy buds. Buddy bud. Yeah, I'll probably dig that up too, to be honest. And then we have another gold geyser over here. We're kind of pinned in by a lot of gold geysers. Actually, we're pinned in by a lot of geysers. Right as we exit our main... This was probably not the best point for my main checkpoint, because right as we exit this checkpoint, we have one geyser here and one geyser here, which kind of severely limits the space that we physically have, but oh well. That damage has been done. I'm not going to be able to change or fix that. Alright, so the annoying, we don't have the right research, blah blah blah. Alright, let's get rid of that. I'm going to check duplicate skills because it's been a while. So as you can see, the morale for people like One Who's Many, who has a lot of skills unlocked, he's going to be stressed. Dennis Keith is right on the threshold of being stressed. So, and then same with Angelia. I'm going to have to work towards keeping my dupes a little bit happier. So Treforza, we wanted you to move towards exosuit wearing instead of max ranching. And keeping them happy means making sure that really every morale benefit that I can provide them is offered. Alright, so now as you can see, the destruction of a massive fire pole. I guess this fire pole was actually mostly iron ore. But that's fine. Actually, reclaiming a whole bunch of iron ore is probably good, because that will allow us to make steel more easily. Alright, so this, of course, is going to have some germs in the air. Even the ladders do. Even some of the phosphorite that we've put away in the storage bin has germs. Now, in pure oxygen, it will eventually die off. So, it doesn't concern me. Yeah, and as you can see, the insulated walls here are helping to pin in the heat. Alright, so let's get that Buddy Bud. Let's make it a high priority so we can fight airborne slime lung. But the reason why I have all of my storage, almost to a stubborn degree, inside my base is so that we can avoid situations where we've got slime lung, you know, in storage, right? Because it has to pass through all these ore scrubbers as sort of a failsafe. So one of the real advantages, of course, is, you know, because I store everything inside my base, it makes sure that everything goes through an ore scrubber, and we don't have situations like this, where here is a box full of phosphorite that is now spreading slime lung around my my wheeze boards. Alright, so the Buddy Bud is working. And up here, I'll put another Buddy Bud. Okay. So that's a big old project, and I'm not gonna add more to their load. So probably not going to get the transfer tube necessarily this episode, because it's going to take a while, but I can start to work to replace the fire pole. And then we also have these liquid pumps ready to go. These liquid pumps lead to, I believe is a perfectly straight shot, lead to our sieve. So all I have to do is power them on, which is not that hard to do. And yes, it is a little weird to combine heavy watt wires with the normal ones, but there's no way that this draws more than 1K power, because even if both of these pumps turn on, that's less than 500. So, hey, we got to the Gravitas building. So here we have a ladder all the way up, and this is the Gravitas facility. It's like a ancient ruin of, you know, and you can read about the Gravitas facility here by inspecting this stuff. Yeah, this occurs as a sort of natural, you know, facility that gets generated. Oh, another thing I wanted to do is disable these outflow vents, because pretty soon our hydrogen tanks are going to be absolutely full, which means that the amount of oxygen that we can produce through electrolysis is going to be limited. So it would be best if I allowed the oxygen to back up into my vent systems like this, because soon we won't be able to produce as much. Choose a blueprint. 3 hatch eggs, I guess, because we're just going to make food out of it. I have a lot of projects going on. My total kcals are dropping, but not to the point that it concerns me yet. So this crude oil here is now cooling down a little bit. The stuff way down here is still pretty hot. Hot enough to damage a gold pump. But if I wait long enough, or if I introduce cooler oil into it, because these are pockets of cooler oil, it will cool down. I'm not that worried about that. Just gotta be patient. Alright, so I'm not running stress for anyone right now. That's good. Man, we've never cleaned any of this up. We have tidied up a significant amount of the base here, though. So if I take a look at the decor, as you can see, there are definitely some pain points of ugly spots within the base that could be improved. Everywhere where we go often could be prettied up. So one of the things I'm going to do is blow up these storage bins. And I know it makes very little sense considering how much effort I just took to put that stuff away. And I'm going to make another level of storage bins right here. And we'll high priority sweep this up. And this is just to keep the thoroughfares pretty. Once I'm done, you'll see. I mean, really all it is I'm going to put in something pretty in here. Probably landscape canvases. Metal blocks can be quite pretty because of the decor benefit that gold can offer. So I could also... I'd have to change the ceiling height, but I could put in some really gorgeous art around here if I wanted to. Now that this farm is done, let me blow that up. And this allows me to reclaim metals and to repurpose this room for some other purpose. Okay, so these guys are kind of stuck, which was absolutely my own doing. But if I told them to use here, I'm just gonna temporarily allow them. What is that? Sandstone? Oh, they can't reach that either. Alright. I just want them not idle, so I'm gonna force them to make this ladder first. There. Now they are not stuck. Alright, so, now that we've redesigned that a bit, one of the things I could do, as I said, is a metal block, make it out of gold, something like this, and that is going to pretty up this area. And what I'll do is I'll just constantly be aiming to do something similar for all of my, all the areas that are common use that could use beautification. Maybe having a more beautiful bathroom, maybe having, just wherever I can make iterative improvements to keep my duplicants happier, I'll do just that. Alright, Triforza. Your athletics are up to 5, that's pretty good. It's better than where you were at before. We are getting the fire pole moved over, which allows us to run... It allows us to run a transfer tube system. transfer system is pretty low on the totem pole of things I currently care about, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. I'm not going to super prioritize it because we're not commuting down to oil or up to space often. But eventually that won't be, eventually we will want to commute more often. It's just we don't yet. It's not that big of a deal. We're not doing work up here. Hello, big monument. Alright, so we have these gold metal blocks. And one of the things I might be able to do is to... yeah, to beautify the bathrooms and, just to make things look nicer so that our dupes can be a little happier. Copy settings, paste settings. Because in this spot, obviously, the granite blocks won't fit, but I could put landscape canvases. Like that. And that way, just the common areas that we pass through often become more beautiful. And if you take a look at the decor, the amount of decor that this thing puts off versus granite is significantly higher. 52.5 for a radius of 8 tiles versus 42 for a radius of 8 tiles. And you can pretty easily see the radius here. So the next big thing, of course, is just to sweep. Do a lot of sweeping. So that we don't have debris everywhere in the base. This was where the old barracks were. And obviously they're no longer needed. We have proper bedrooms. So I'll break them down. And this also means that I could, put another metal block sculpture here. Same purpose, Traveling up and down this ladder is the pretty common commute. So the prettier we make this route, the higher our decor value is for that area. Why is there omelets down there? That's just weird. Why is there too many... oh, not too many critters yet, but getting pretty close. Oh, look, hey, we finished the fully insulated geyser. So yeah, this gas here is going to be super hot because it doesn't have a lot of space to dissipate. But then even just a few wheezeworts and the temperature in these ranches are actually pretty cold. And again, these wheezeworts did not affect the ranch at all either. Yeah, I mean, if I was worried about that, I could always throw insulated tiles down here, but it's not doing anything negative yet, so, like, why would I bother? Another flower pot. But yeah, that one buddy bud is doing a really good job of suppressing the slime lung, as you can see. There's not any airborne slime lung around here, really at all. So actually, maybe we will move this buddy bud setup to over here. Alright, so now we're starting to get some beautification going. And there is yet another instance of beautifying. And as you can see, there's the mix of... yeah, so this debris here that is not swept is ugly, but then apart from that, everything else is pretty. So just cleaning, the simple act of putting stuff away can really positively improve the moods of your dupes. Which is why I just told them as a tip-top priority, go do that. Because it really will have a positive effect, and it should reduce One Who's Many's stress a bit. And there's other things I could do, of course, is for consumables, for instance, I could say, hey, One Who Is Many, make sure you only eat omelets or something like that, right? I don't have any omelets right now, but I could increase, because, of course, the difference between a gristleberry or a fried mushroom is a morale of 1. You jump to omelets or to barbecue, it's morale 8. Spicy tofu would be 16. All these, you know, all these foods could be used. Where if I really wanted to go through each one, I could say, hey, you know, Terforza, you're not really at risk of morale. I'm going to take you off of the tasty foods. And, you know, I could min-max it that way. I don't really care to do that much of it. Hello, ice. I'm going to make sure to sweep you immediately into my my ice chest. So if we take a look at decor, yeah, there's a very positive effect now. And then I could just keep furnishing it up. You know, flower pot here, really anywhere that we commonly find our dupes moving towards, I can just spice it up a bit. You know, like a little gold block of stuff there, so on and so forth. And this will really, really help, I think. Of course, I say that in One Who Is Many's stress is only going up and up and up, but that's because he's... Oh, I know why. It's because he's commonly stuck in the power station, and the power station is uggles. Quite uggles. So I can try to make it prettier. There's not a lot of space for a ton of improvement here, but I'll do what I can for his sanity. So as far as oil has been going on, we've struck it, but we haven't really made use of anything down here. I haven't been pumping it. I really don't actually need to pump it for plastics. Normally, you would use oil to refine it into plastics, but because... Oh, hey, we have a neural facilitator. Actually, you know what? One Who Is Many... I'd forgotten that we had dug to this. I'm going to send him through it and hope that he gets a sunny disposition. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. Either way, I can say at least I tried. It also looks like this physical area is just about ready to be reclaimed and deodorized, obviously. It is gross. So... Alright, genes shuffled. Complete the process. Diver lungs. Well, that's fine, too. Alright, this oil... Because I'm not pumping the oil is having the chance to actually cool down to the point where it won't damage... pipes. So that's good. Or the pumps, rather. How's that fire pole coming? We haven't really rebuilt it. We haven't really done anything up there. But The base beautification project has been working a little bit. Now, one of the things about trying to make a power station pretty is there's so much that is so, you know, honestly, it is so negative decor in here. There's just no way I'm ever going to bring it up from the deep, deep negatives, so forget it. I thought it was a good idea, but upon additional inspection, no, it's not. It's like using a super soaker to put out a forest fire. Forget about it. Oh, is that not reachable? There. That will be. Alright, so this space is now... I mean, obviously there's a lot of liquids here that I'm going to need to deal with, but this is set up so that I can use it for the purposes I set out for. Seems to me like I need to crack some eggs. I'm actually going to preemptively crack one glossy as well, or 2 glossies. And it looks like there's another anti-entropy thermal nullifier over yonder. Cool. I've been meaning to do a bit more exploration to try to find, yeah, just to sort of explore the surrounding area. So I'll continue that out this way, because there's probably still a lot of geysers that I've not uncovered, and maybe some ruined facilities that I still haven't tapped. I probably am just about at the limit of my ruined facilities. Like, I can't imagine that there's too much more, but in the case that there isn't. Alright, so these eggs can get dumped. And put them back in. And this should be for smooth. How many eggs is in here? Okay, it's full of eggs. So any more eggs and I'll have to crack it. So now I know why one who's many is stressed. He's basically lives tuning up the power station, which is very, very ugly. But as soon as he leaves that area, it gets prettier pretty quickly. And I can beautify it further, because this doesn't need to be an actual individual room anymore. Which means continually burn up our gold, put in a bunch of statues like that. Good times. And maybe, you know, sweep the debris. Alright, this is looking pretty good. Oh, there is some oxygen that is going the wrong way. I'm going to shut down my pumps and electrolyzers, because we are going to be at max gas pressure, because we have we're producing more hydrogen than I can even deal with. And then I'm not entirely sure why the gas shutoffs, I think because they're blocked, it's been messing it up. So I guess I could have... Yeah, that's what's going on. Set that up a little bit better. It's going to dump a little bit of oxygen out. Or hydrogen out. But luckily, the hydrogen does pool up here, and it's pretty harmless. And I can always pump it out at some point. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to enable these to outgas a little oxygen, just to make it so that our flow isn't all backed up. So right now, it's... we're struggling. We are struggling. Okay, I'm not quite at the point where I feel like I need to replant mushrooms, but we're getting there. Alright, and then because I just uncapped these and most of the side pipes were full, it should outgas most of our hydrogen out to, you know, outside. And if I, you know, that whatever is left is fine. If I really, really, really wanted to, I could extract pipe contents here and have bottled hydrogen. In fact, let's disable this building. I'll just demo that before this episode ends. And I could even do it with here as well. Just snipe the oxygen that I see. So if we take a look, I'm having my dupes just grab... I mean, it's a very inefficient way of doing it, but just grabbing the oxygen that doesn't belong here. And it's going to create a canister of oxygen or hydrogen, depending. Here, let me have this as a much higher priority. But it would prevent the wrong gas from getting to where it shouldn't go. So over here, now that this vent is disabled, so the hydrogen isn't moving to the right anymore, we can grab it. So there we go. Now that we have all these oxygen canisters, having canisters of oxygen isn't necessarily a terrible thing in the long run, because we can always have a canister emptier. So like, let's say there was a place where we needed oxygen. I don't know, maybe up in space, we could have a canister emptier where we dump out our oxygen, you know, purposefully. But I think for now, I'm just going to make a canister emptier. I don't really care where we dump out the oxygen. So, you know, I could just say, hey, here, we'll dump out, you know, whatever oxygen that we mopped up. And I could do the same for hydrogen where we want the hydrogen. So having canisters of stuff isn't that much of a problem. But I am turning off this entire thing for a bit, because our hydrogen is so pressurized and backed up. Well, that is about all the time I have. We didn't get too much further. I mean, we did start to, I guess, set up this whole area so that we can use it for construction in the future. And then making a path for our transfer tube by moving the fire pole to be on top of the heavy watt. And if we take a look at the decor, yeah, the base is definitely significantly prettier than it was, I guess, last episode or an episode or two ago. And I'll continue in trying to improve the decor to reduce the stress levels. If you have any feedback for me, do drop me a line in the comments below. I really appreciate all the positive feedback I've been getting, and I love incorporating it into the series. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll catch you all next episode. Adios.